What's going on, people? It's your brother A.D.V.I.S, and we are here with episode 2 of What's the Word Wednesdays. And as always, we're going to take our time, let people come in. But today, the topics for this episode that we got going on, y'all. What's going on, brother? How you doing? We in here. Exactly. But glad to see you up in here, brother. But for today's episode of What's the Word, y'all, we are going to be going into a few topics. We have, of course, we're going to do current events, what's locally, globally going on. Peace, what's going on? We also going to be getting into what emotions are, and just talking a bit into that, as well as we are going to talk about how differences can be a good or a bad thing, just depending on how you look at it. And as we're doing that too, and people are coming in, I'm going to give a few more people. We're going to start this show off right with the song that inspired me to start and create these shows, and the title in itself. So I'm going to play the song as more people are coming in, and then after that, we're going to get started. So appreciate y'all being in here. This is your brother A.D.V.I.S, and welcome to episode 2 of What's the Word Wednesdays.
Yeah, peace to anybody. Peace to Skill and the serial skill.
What's the word, y'all? What's the word? 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 What's the word, y'all? What's the word?
I got skills galore, and yo, consider what I'm reason in the flow. Trios in effect, respect the live show. Speech extends the.
But that's what's up, y'all. So thank y'all for coming in. That was the song I told you that inspired the show. What's the Word Wednesdays? It's by a group called Shinsight Trio, and it's called What's the World? But they ask him, what's the word? What's going on right now in the world? So that's what we're going to do, and we're getting into it. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Just know that I got these topics here, and that any moment that you feel you want to throw something in and talk, you're more than welcome to join, as well as give your perspective on what's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? Okay? So with that being said, let's get started. So right now, at least when it comes to current events and what I've been really hearing about, mostly going on this week, there's been more so a lot of talk of course, the presidential race, and of a lot of our selections and what they're doing now as we're pushing forward towards near November. And I mean, the main one that a lot of people are talking about right now, of course, is Kanye West, and talking about a lot of his comments, whether he was commenting on the fact of Harriet Tubman, as well as his approach of how he's looking to do things when it comes to running in this presidential race. So peace. And it's very interesting again to see just a lot of people looking at the situation going on. I know his background in particular, being that he says mental health, bipolar, losing his mom, fiance, and going through a number of different changes, getting married with the Kardashian, all of that stuff being thrown in there. But right now, all I know is that if it's not showing y'all blatantly now of how much of a clown or a reality TV show that the presidential race is, this should be showing you it now. I remember on my way to work one time, I literally was driving behind this car and I happened to see their bumper sticker. And on their bumper sticker, it ended up having anybody that's competent and smart for 2020. So literally, it's showing you that it's so many clowns running this dang race. It's mad ridiculous. As well as for me, and I don't know if anybody else personally, peace to everybody coming up in here. Welcome to What's the Word, episode 2, Wednesdays. Right now I'm talking about current events, and I was jumping on a lot of the stuff I'm seeing more so presidential election wise and stuff. But just know y'all can throw comments, throw what you feel on anything currently happening around where all of y'all are at. Just know that it's just not, my own perspective. I want to make this open to the community. So just know that y'all can throw your stuff in here too, because I'm asking y'all, what's the word? But back to my whole aspect when it comes to presidential race and everything. I'm not a fan, or I should say, I really dislike the term lesser of two evils. And the reason why I dislike the term of lesser of two evils is the whole idea that, they're both bad choices, but, one of them is not so bad. We could kind of deal with that, even though you can look back and see the history on both sides and see whether and knowingly if it's for your benefit or not. And I can only speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for the whole black race, but all I can say is on both sides that we've seen, on Republican, Democrat, wherever, it's not beneficial for black people in general. It's not beneficial for a lot of people. And I really don't like when people are talking about that term. But once again, it's each his own. This is how I maneuver and look at it and see, when it comes to the presidential races and stuff going on. But that's just one thing I've been seeing currently, just been streaming on the internet. Another thing that's been sparking my attention as well, that's true, duality, period. That's very true. Yes, I feel that, artist. The whole presidency is just entertainment at this point. It really is, bro. It is. It's entertainment, man. You know that. You got to give the masses what? Food and wine and bread, because right now we're still in this lockdown pandemic or coming to the second wave, and you got people really bored and they need stuff to do. So why not make this a clown show? Let's see the brother what he put. Puna, what you put? Should the police be because the funds are funding poor, it would have helped have peace, officers, and not hyper military police. I love your question, bro. And if you want to come in and add some more to it, just know you're more welcome to jump on. But should the police be defunded? This is where I'm gonna go before I say, I'll give you yes and no. Part of me saying yes because as well as no is the history of the police. If we really go back and look at the history of the police, you will see that they're actually still doing what they're supposed to be doing to this day. They're literally following off of what they were back way when, which was slave patrol. So then they turned slave patrol and that's where you had a lot of folks from the KKK also joining because it was under slave patrol where they were just grabbing and taking slaves back. Peace to you, Chuban, peace to you. And literally that perpetuated itself into modernized policing where we're at now. So when you hear about that same line that they say, literally, we're here to serve and protect. Honestly, they are here to serve and protect. But do they tell you specifically who they're here to serve and protect? Supposedly it's supposed to be us, the citizens, right? But no, when you think about it, they're the foot soldiers of the system. They're the foot soldiers of businesses and other people. So they're serving and protecting businesses and the other folks higher up versus us, because of the fact that even now and still back then, we're seen as products. We're seen as, slaves or time or wage slaves. So literally keeping us in line and doing what they've done in the past, it's nothing new. So coming back to it, should it be defunded? It definitely should be defunded to be able to diversify the money. Because if we start following the trail of money for anything, period, and you shout outs to artists, nothing new under the sun, like, you will see how much funding or how much money is moving into the military. That's another place. Like, no disrespect, I know, appreciate all the people who's out there serving and protecting us. But once you start learning how the system works and how things are breaking down, you see how much money is being given to the military, almost up to 350 billion, almost, if not more, or somewhere in that area, versus how much is being accumulated within certain communities, and it's based off of what revenue is being made in the communities and the taxes being paid upon. You can definitely see so much disproportion in things. So the same thing with the police. All of our, hard earned, taxes and, funds go to the police. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, we have to be able to give them something to be accountable about. So defunding in a way, yes, so that it can allocate money everywhere else. I know there's pictures all around on the internet about it. So for sure, with your question, I appreciate it, Puna. I appreciate you, brother. And yeah, bro, like, it should be, but then at the same time, I feel since the history of it, it needs to be reformed in some way, shape, or form. And I know right now, for a lot of people, that's just like, no, don't break something down. We already got something going. If you do that, then we won't have nothing left. But there is different ways for us to be able to find that. And that can be a slow transition into something where there's still police force and stuff happening. Defunding has happened, but then there's another type of, policing, or if not a full force that's, being put in while the other is being, remade. So it's all dependent on that. But dope question, brother. I appreciate that. Just know y'all can all chime in on this question too. I'm not the only one. But let's see. What else is going on? What else has been going on right now? Oh, we got the Brother Joe Boost in the building. What's going on? If you want to be a king, man, you got to do the work. But right now, what else is going on? A lot more. Another news article I ended up seeing, and this has been a while back. There was an outbreak. Supposedly there's going to be less defunding again. Supposedly there's another outbreak of Ebola going on. Another outbreak of Ebola is going on. So I don't know necessarily what the heck is going on there, but supposedly funding is going to be running out for that. Let me see if I have it close right here in particular. No, I don't have it up here with me. But there's a number of things still happening with these breakout of viruses, and just funding, and just I think funding in general is hard because everybody's literally shut down where they are in their homes, or if they are working, they are there. And then we hearing about a second wave coming, so now a lot of places are going right back to what's going on. But yeah, I've been hearing a lot more about different viral breakouts, not only just from the pandemic and what's going on with COVID. But let's see what else. All right, how do you feel about the Nigga situation? I feel he spoke nothing but the truth, but felt like he had to apologize to protect his brand. I feel you on that, Runaway. Bro, in my situation, when it comes to me thinking of that situation, and I talked about it with another person before too, but the whole Nick Cannon situation too is, it's when you step into that system, you know what you're getting yourself into. And you know the boundary lines of what you can and cannot do. And when you overstep those boundary lines of what you can and cannot do with already what you signed up and what you're trying to secure or bag and everything else, whatever lingo you want to use, you have to you start losing a lot of your integrity when it comes to how you identify with yourself. So when it comes to Nick Cannon and speaking on what he spoke, honestly, since he's following that bag, of course he's going to apologize. But I can't speak on it and say like, oh, if it was me, I would have done this, this, and that. I don't fully know his situation like that. But when you speak some truth to, literally when you start speaking truth to, right now we saying quote unquote on a dominant, culture is white people, you're going to get a lot of them being uncomfortable. And the only way for them to respond back, a lot of it, and we don't know this, once we start learning this too, you hit them in the pockets. So if you said something we know is true, you can go look up the history on this on Google, everywhere else. But if you say it out loud and we're right there and a number of people are now hearing it, we're embarrassed now. So now we're going to come at you. And now what are you going to do about it? Because if not, you're going to lose this, you're going to lose that. So the whole thing with being anti-Semitic, man, I mean, Michael Jackson went through it too. Like, if you heard his song, They Don't Really Care About Us, man, that's the whole thing right there, bro. He said, kick me, kite me, don't you black or white me. Like, that's one of the most quotable lines in that song because of the fact that it was seen as being anti-Semitic. But if you do your history too, you will know that those that they're calling themselves the Jews too are also the same people that said they were also $5 Indians. So think about that. Right. Appreciate that, brother. Just know at any time everybody could jump on. But anything else what's going on currently with y'all? Let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's going on. And while I'm doing that, we're going to be playing some background music of another brother of mine. His name is LaRod. I'm going to play a little bit of his music in the background. Boom. What's going on, Sam I Am? Good to see you up in here. Welcome to the second episode, What's the Word Wednesdays. We just finished talking up on a few current events going on. I just finished wrapping up talking about question that came from everyone talking about the Nick Cannon situation. So we finished up on that. But what's up with everybody else? Let me know what's going on before I move on to the next topic. We start getting into our feelings, these emotions. I'm just playing. What's going on, y'all?
What's in your eyes? I'm calling you, but every time I call, I tell lies. I see how you hurt, and I don't understand. All your true feelings are kept in a far land. A land we call love. Now it's corruption. I just want to fix it. You ain't doing nothing.
I agree with you. I agree on that, artist. That's a part of the contract. Literally, it's written in there. So once again, the boundary lines of what you can do and what you cannot do. If you start showing that you're deviating from the contract and the plan, whether that being is like in the plan somewhere, you know how wordy contracts and stuff can be, and they're not going to blatantly say, oh, you can't be for your people, but it's going to be put in some type of wording that way where if you don't have the vocabulary and the vernacular for that, you won't catch it. But once you start falling away from that, yeah, you already know it's like, all right, we're going to give you this hush money. You can't say nothing. And you just got to go along with the plan. And if you don't go along with the plan, these are going to be the repercussions. And I know another example of that, actually, and I always go back and forth with this too, is the whole situation with Dave Chappelle. And how he ended up, after I think the second season of the Dave Chappelle show, they were offering him that $50 million. And he turned that $50 million down. And in that same moment, he went ahead, he jetted off to Africa. Within that time he was in Africa, they were literally I was going to say the internet, but the media, TV, televisions, all of them were slandering him, saying that he went off to Africa and he started, doing drugs, all these other different things, and slandering his name because of the fact that he didn't want to end up whatever the extra part on that deal was that he didn't want to go with, and he decided to leave and was like, I'm not going to take that. That's what ended up happening in his case of why literally he didn't get to what he couldn't get to either, because in the dotted lines he didn't want to sign off, and because now you're not going to follow our plan, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start slandering you. We start going telling, falsities about you, and literally until you come back, until you be like, are you gonna be a part of this plan? Then you gonna lose profits wise. But peace to my brother. What are you doing? What's going on? What's the word, brother? All right, let's see. What's the artist you're playing in the background now? Sorry, if you see in the pinned comment right now, the artist I'm playing in the background is Larod. That's one of my brothers I've known since high school, and he's been doing his thing when it comes to music too. So you can check him later. He's down right there. He's at Larod1. It's pretty dope. But yeah, y'all, let me know what else is going on. I like this. This is dope. I'm loving it. It's more participation. Don't be afraid to jump on with me too and have a face-to-face. Like, as much as I like looking at the comments and just, reading them, I love to hear from y'all in person too. So don't be afraid to request or even say in the comments, hey, throw me in there. But with that being said, is there any other current events y'all have seen that's going on that you want to speak on or throw in there before I move now to the next topic? Alright, so the next topic that I have down here is emotions, and digging into what are emotions, what are they for, what do they do, and how do we use them. Just a number of different things this can go, the way it can go. So, and you can throw down what you feel like common emotions and literally what you think and what those are for. From my perspective, emotions, and people use this, or people I know have used this, emotions are energy and motion. So these are different energies and feelings that you're getting from some outward stimuli. And when I mean outward stimuli, it's whatever you're seeing outside of you is causing you to react and have some type of feeling. And how some people dictate those feelings is either upon how they react to the feelings or how they respond to the feelings. And when you react with a feeling, that's when people say you act out of anger, or you act out of sadness, or you act out of envy. That's where you're using that emotion to just drive your action. Versus when you think of responding, you come to learn that what your emotions are, they are feelings that help you figure out what you're experiencing right now and why you're experiencing it right now, and what should you do with those feelings that you're getting in. So instead of just reacting out of anger, sadness, envy, selfishness, whatever you want to end up calling an emotion, with responding, you're able to take that second to step back, and you're like, hold on. All right, I'm upset right now, or I'm feeling very upset right now. But why is that the case? Why am I feeling upset? Oh, it's because traffic is in front of me. Got into a car accident. Now it's going to take me another hour to get home. Now, how do I respond with that? And it gets you just to start thinking rather than just acting out of it. But emotions are very important because of the fact that they provide that type of energy. They are motivators and sparks for different areas, whether if it's artistically, whether if it's right now you see what's going on outside around you with the protests and with a lot of people going out and marching and doing their thing, that emotions are very strong. And they can also be used to your detriment because of how much they can be manipulated without you even knowing. So being in touch with your emotions is a really good thing. But understanding the fact that you don't want it to control you or just push you to just act is another thing. You want to know how to fully understand where they're coming from or why those emotions are coming up, so then you can respond accordingly versus just throwing it out there, figuring out this is it. Yeah, physical attachment to the physical. No, for real, you're right about that, artist. Yeah, that's where a lot of it comes from emotions, from the physical. Let's see, got the brother Zamora KZ. What you have right here? He says, should I do to be in a good mental space? Ooh, I like that. So y'all let me know too. What are some things you should do to be in a good mental space? For myself, and I can send that to you, brother. This is not a recommendation. This is not a doctor prescribed anything. This is just my own perspective of how it's worked for me, brother. And when it comes to being a good mental space, bro, it's very dependent upon not only your environment, so checking to see who and what is around you influencing you, but it's also checking those emotions and seeing, okay, am I experiencing a lot of anger? Am I experiencing, happiness, joy? Okay, where are those coming from? And from a lot of that evaluating and figuring out, that's where you start putting into action what you're gonna do. So for me, brother, what I started noticing is that once I started doing a lot more meditation, start doing a lot more working out, a lot more self-research, so learning about myself, but also just learning about how the world and people work, as well as creating music, so using the artistic side, I start to see a lot more of my thoughts and the way that I respond and reacted to people were a lot more aligned with me being, my favorite word when it comes to a lot of spiritual stuff, balanced. And it takes time. It really does. It takes time. It takes moments for you to build on it. Like, self-discipline is a part of that plan for sure. And once you're able to do a lot of those evaluations and go step by step to help you, as well as if you need a community of people or just another, accountability partner to help you figure out, like, where can I get into a good mental space, reach out. Because at the end of the day, us as people, as much as we want to say that we're self-made and we are independent and we don't have to rely on anybody, that's actually counterintuitive to our nature. We are a group type of species. We thrive off of unity and community. So whenever you're feeling that you need some support, just reach out. But yeah, brother, just do what works for you. Whatever you enjoy, whatever you find, bro, that brings you fulfillment and happiness, man, you continue to develop that. Bro, I was gonna say, bro, wasn't we in some similar classes for psych, bro? I remember we was in here for psych, bro. Like, do thoughts affect emotions? Bro, honestly, it's really dependent on the situation, because it can go both ways, my man. And that goes out to everybody, because the way that you think, you're also planting the seed within yourself to be like, every time I think of something bad is going to happen. I'm going to feel bad. So your thoughts can definitely, for sure, affect that. As well as you might just randomly just be walking down the street and you just hear a loud sound and you just jump without you thinking. Because don't forget, we also have, and I'm not going to get too scientific, but we also have a part of the brain that's still wired to our primal, reactions from back way when, which is the amygdala, is where we still have our fight, flight, freeze going on. So there's going to be times, bro, that thinking is not going to help you in certain situations, and you're just going to react to react. I'm not saying that there's only one thing you should do is only think about why your feelings and how you react. No, there's also the other side of that. Sometimes you just going to react out of that, but then you can come back after that happens and figure out why. This can go both ways. But let's see. I'm loving this, y'all. For me personally, I take breaks from social media. Yes. As somewhat of the empath, I realize how much people's emotions can really take a toll on me. That is very true. You gotta be careful of those energy vampires too. They really feed off of people, a lot of empaths, as well as just a lot of people like us. Yes, the brother Leroy said yes, motivation and emotion. Yes, bro. You took that class. You passed that class, so you know this already. As much as I want to help other people, it's important to take care of myself, a healthy health. Yes, and I'm going to keep on saying it, and I'm going to say this to the ends whenever the wheels fall off, but I am a avid supporter of self-care, especially the hashtag I have, self-care for your health-care, because literally, you cannot help nobody else until you're able to help your own self, and not in a selfish or egotistical way, but in a way that if I'm at 50% and you're asking me to help you out with driving you somewhere or help you out with a project and you need my 100 full undivided attention and I'm already at 50%, I'm already doing a disservice to you because of the fact that I'm only at 50% when I need to get to that 100% to really give you that value, time, and effort. So I'm definitely with it. Like, you need to definitely take time for yourself. I agree, Sam. You need to take time for yourself to build yourself up, to be in that healthy space, because it also can exude out into everything you do. It can exude out into your emotions. It can exude out into your actions. It exudes out into your nonverbal behavior, bro, and everything. So just be very mindful and know that how important self-care is, as well as how emotions are used as guides to let you know something outside of you is bothering you or something's going on, and use that to whether react to a situation automatically or to respond after some deep thought. So just know emotions are very important in that aspect. If y'all have anything else, y'all can throw it in here. I appreciate the interaction in the comments. It's beautiful. This bro, are you freestyling live tomorrow? No, bro, I'm not freestyling live tomorrow. I'm gonna be at live work all day, bro. I'm gonna be at work from 11 a.m. to 10:30, bro. And that's gonna be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But I know if y'all still ain't got no time, we always do an after show, which is after this show, and we usually just be chilling. I'll throw some freestyling if you want to see me freestyle, bro, after the show. We can do that. What's up, Saab? You in the building. Next week, I'm going to be playing your music in the background, bro. We going to get you some Spotify runs right now, bro. Let's see. Sam got another one. Do you think is it right for people to just unplug without saying anything to other people? Do you think people owe others an explanation of their absence? That's a one. Those are two great questions. So I'm gonna start with the first one for sure. So, do you think it's right for people to just unplug without saying anything to other people? And people get mad at me because I always say yes and I always say no, because I like to give you both sides. It's just not only just one side to think. It's not even only two sides. It's multiple. But the reason why I say yes, that it's, right to not let anybody know is because of the fact that if you're really struggling and you really need to take that time and you don't have the energy to be able to push that out to people, then you're not going to be able to do that automatically, for sure. It's just going to be like, you know what? I just can't tell everybody right now. I just got to go do me. Now, the other part of it, of no, is because it depends on the circle of people that you have. That's why I say no. But if you have a circle of people that knows you when it comes to like your behavior and how you move and do things, they'll know like, oh, something's not going on. I haven't seen Sam, or I haven't seen Sabi, or I haven't seen whoever online or doing something for a while. Like, something's going on. You know, they may check in. If you don't respond, then they'll know like that's that point right now. Maybe they're trying to refill themselves. So it really comes to who you have in your circle when it comes to that. And yeah, you don't necessarily have to explain to people. Some people will get it. Other people won't figure out why you're absent. But beautiful. Comedy hour. We'll see what happens after the show. We'll see. I'm with you on that. Meditation helps me. Yes. Before I started this live, bro, I meditated for 20 minutes, bro. Just because, to get this all right, man. What do you think about the coronavirus as a current event topic? Yeah, bro, I talked about it last week, and I just briefly touched on it. I don't like to get too much into it, brother. The only thing that I started seeing was the second wave of that coming, and how I saw, and I've seen this on a lot of the Instagram feeds and lives. There's been doctors disproving a lot of things, as well as showing people that a lot of things are skewed when it comes to actual deaths and actual cases. And even those actual cases are skewed because if you, and one of the doctors that I watched on there and I saw, and the reason I'm saying the doctor is because at this point, they're supposed to be the credible people and the experts from the system, so they're the only ones that supposedly know, right? And there's this doctor speaking on how literally there was someone they found out in their job force that they had contracted the virus, and he was nowhere within the feet of them, but he was on a screening call. So the person who was going to be doing the screening said they were going to follow up with him and let him know that he still needs to end up doing a quarantine of himself, even though he didn't show any symptoms. And we don't have to get into also the asymptomatic and all of that going on, but they still he asked the question. He was like, okay, so say like literally I had a runny nose, and he didn't specifically say to like allergies or something, but he said if I had a runny nose, my eyes are watering, and I started having a cough, would you write that down as I have COVID-19, or that's a possible case? And the person on the phone told him, was like, yes, like we will have to write that down that you are positive, even if that they don't see that you have it, two, that those different symptoms could be something of a, you might be allergic to something, or it could end up being the seasonal flu or whatever you want to end up calling it. It's like a lot of this information we learn about the virus, brother, it's so convoluted and it's so mixed with stuff that it's really hard to have people get down on the facts. But that's all I'm gonna say to that. If you want to know more, me and you can always talk about this after. Bro, what's your understanding of 5G? So when it comes to 5G, and I love how these questions is coming in. Like I said, we don't necessarily have to have just the topics down there, but I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna weave back into the last topic before we start ending. But let me get some water before I answer that for 5G. If y'all still with me, put a thumbs up in the chat. Alright, Mr. Sabu. Now, when it comes to my understanding of 5G, it has to do with electric magnetic frequencies, so EMF waves. And literally, when we think of 5G, we're thinking of, if you've ever seen the light spectrum. If you've ever seen the light spectrum, you will see that we start off with red, which is infrared, and we go all the way to the end, which is close to ultraviolet, which you see is a different color, which is purple. Start from red all the way to purple. Now with 5G, what's going on with that is the wave is a lot more concentrated. So that means it's a lot faster. But what happens when you have a wave that's a lot faster and it's past a certain hertz? And the thing is, I'm not going to get too scientific, but the reason why I want to speak about that is because we talk about energy, vibes, waves, frequency. Just know that 5G in itself, it is not a very safe energy for humans at this point right now. It's not, especially the way that we're advancing. I've looked up this a number of times. There's been more stuff coming up. But if you want, you can actually put in Google, you can look up, there was a school, if I'm correct, is somewhere in California. I always got to make sure I leave my stuff so I just don't be like, oh yeah, y'all, this is where it is. Like, I have the facts. There was a school that had a 5G tower that was sponsored by one of the local companies that were there. And they put it in, this was probably about 2 years back, about 2018. And they had this 5G tower because the school was sponsored there. And within that first year that was there at the school, they had 5 cases of kids having brain cancer. So, and this is from the installing of that 5G tower. Before then, there was nothing going on with that. But once they installed that in a very close vicinity and had it running and using, it's kind of weird that it's very coincidental that there's kids that start showing up having brain cancer, not just 1, but 5 or more. So when it comes to the 5G things, just know that the frequency is very concentrated, and for our bodies and around in our vicinity, it's not advantageous for us right now. There has to be another way to do all this stuff, but they say it's paired with this whole virus and technology and all of this. I'm not gonna go too deep into that. That could be for another time. But just know 5G, it's something to definitely you need to look out for. Boom. All right, see, now we're getting into Hollywood. I see you right now, Kev. Okay. Is there really pedophilia in Hollywood? Bro, it's a part of the contracts. It's in there, bro. Like, it's undeniably there. Like, you start noticing when you follow the money, you start learning about child trafficking, and you break down, which I've been breaking down words. And if you start breaking down the word Hollywood itself, Holly comes from the tree, which they use that wood to practice witchcraft and do spells with. So when you think of Hollywood and all the things that they do in Hollywood, they're casting spells, they're doing all these different, things. And you see a lot of child stars later on come out and talk about, or if they don't, they talk about something that's happened to them way back when. Peace to the brother Freddie in here. This happened to them way back when, where people have came and approached them at very young ages and, done things. So Hollywood for sure, bruh, perpetuates pedophilia in one way, shape, or form. Because there's a whole such thing there's a whole such thing of what we call adrenochrome when it has to do with kids. You look it up. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. If you want to know more, tap in with me later. But just know, pedophilia goes hand in hand with Hollywood for sure. Alright, talk about self and place in 2020. Very general, but take it where you want to take it. Oh, this year 2020, to your point, Leroy, to your point, it's what I like to do when we making rhymes, bro, is a double entendre, bro. Because we think of 2020, bro, we think of vision, we think of seeing, but then we also, this is a new decade. So now you're starting to see how important having your mind space and your place put together, and you're seeing how incompetent not only the system, but local governments, agencies, and people around you are very incompetent. Now you need to know how to really build and come in within yourself right now. So 2020 is that time now. You see things clearly now. The rain is gone, the fog is gone, the veil is gone, And you got to do what you got to do to help, invest in yourself and grow yourself. So it is very important right now in 2020 for sure, because this year has become a double entendre, if not just a spokesperson for literally things are changing right in front of your eyes. You cannot avoid it. You see it. So yeah, bro, you definitely have to at this point in time right now. Boom. Exactly, Sam. Like, yeah, there's articles with a lot of people getting sick from these towers. And I happened to see one thing on Instagram, and you can't always believe what you see. And when you use the word believe, it has the word lie in it. So you can't always see what you see on different social medias. You need to go do more of your research. But there is one guy who installs these 5G towers, going back into 5G real quick, and it actually had on there the name, it had COVID-19 on it. So one of the cell towers, the power box had COVID-19 in it. So what does that mean? If you start learning about military operations, you'll start figuring out that, this doesn't sound right at all. It does not sound right. This, bro. Self-awareness is key, my brother, in controlling your mind, bro. Your mind is a powerful thing. Once you know how to master this, you can master your realm and your reality, for sure. Now, Kev, on your point there, honestly, bro, I am not too sure. I haven't really got too much into that whole realm. I've heard so much about the Epstein situation and his island and the laptop, Pizzagate, all of that going on. So I'm not even too sure if he did or not. I mean, either way, it still caused some type of controversy, for sure. And before I move to the next thing, I'm going to go on this last little one right here. Y'all keep throwing stuff in here. I love it. I seen that, man. It was a few weeks, and I think before the news talked about COVID. Yeah. Distractions, bro. They'll throw one thing, throw another. It's up to all of us to interpret and find the truth within a lot of the lies. So you just got to be careful. You also have to be, vigilant. Because nobody's going to be able to watch out for you unless you watch out for yourself first. And then you can get everybody together to be able to watch each other's back. You got to do your own knowledge. Do the work. But now, let's get into the last part before we start getting close to wrapping up, which is how differences can be a good or a bad thing. And y'all can tap in and let me know as well, too, because we coming to the close. I appreciate everyone that's in here, riding with me, throwing comments, being here. Love y'all. So now, when it comes to differences, my understanding of it is because, like I said, we have this understanding of knowing what, this duality of good and bad, what's right and what's wrong. And the same thing with differences of how you, as a person, can see the difference in somebody else, and you see the uniqueness in someone else as a good thing because of the fact that that's something you could admire from somebody outside of yourself, and not just strive to be or see, but really respect and show, love for, like, wow, I see that you can actually do this thing. I'm personally, that's not my forte, but you look so skillful doing that's dope. I like it. But then when we look on the flip side, and I'm going to keep going back and forth with it, we can also see that as a bad thing when it comes to us comparing ourselves to other people and breakdown of race and all of these social constructs that's been given to us within this system. And you see somebody that's able to make music, you see somebody that's able to cook or able to sing, and you start to become envious of them, or you see because of their skin tone that they look prettier than you, or they're the ideal beauty within the system. You become envious and you start to have this hate, and that's where we have the hate, love, bigotry, and all these different isms that show up that are really symptoms of a whole flaw within this whole system. So seeing that difference and knowing that if you move with that intent of like, oh, since you can do that, you know what, I'm gonna start hating on you. I don't like you just because of what you look like, or you can do that better than me, but I'm supposed to be able to do the same thing too. You can get stuck in that thought, and it really starts coming back again to that whole duality case of how we doing that. Yeah, social media created a lot of that, brother. I remember, and I'll talk to this point still with the differences, good and bad. I remember back in school, I actually had a few colleagues actually doing research versus to see people's perceived happiness on social media versus their perceived happiness in real life, and how literally these profiles, these avatars that we create and we always see is like people elevated and people literally doing these great things that we feel like I don't be doing that all the time, and that's all they post. But then you don't get to see the other half in the back room at home where they might be feeling depressed, they might be feeling down, they might feel sadness, and we're not too sure to see that. And because of social media, I feel like it also has made us antisocial in a way. And when I mean antisocial, I mean we're so dependent on connecting to people over social media and not connecting in real life, which I know right now, because of the pandemic or plandemic, however you want to call it, it's understandable that we're not seeing too much in person, but we're starting to become unnatural beings versus natural beings. So social media is a construction, a social construction, a man-made thing that's not natural. The way social media really is, it's a shoot back to what we already naturally do when we meet people. We socialize. We're outside doing this. But now we're on a medium on technology, which takes us outside of the real world that's around us, puts us in a different world, and now we're connecting that way. And we're losing out on the real life experience we have versus what we're seeing in this other world. So I'm with you on that social media creating a lot of that. Good and bad experiences lead to understanding of growth or the direction of an individual direction. Yes, all the good and bad experiences you have is going to make you grow and create you who you are as a character. So I'm not saying you only need one or the other. I'm just bringing to the point that you need to be, once again, the key word is aware of what those differences can be and how they can work, and really how it looks for a different person, because your differences of what you might think are good and bad are going to be completely different to the person next to you or the person that you're having a conversation with. So communication for sure is key. Communication, awareness creates elevation for you to start thinking further beyond where and what you really need to survive and to thrive as an individual. Balance is necessary. I agree on that. It sucks to live and compare. Yes, social media brings a lot of that self-harm and self-criticism. And I'll throw this out to y'all too, and y'all can tell me what you think, if this is just me talking or not. But from my own observation, due to the advancement of social media, a lot of children nowadays aren't showing the innate ability to be able to regulate their emotions. And what I mean by that, as a kid, for me, I did experience bullying. I did experience people coming at me. But when I went back home, I literally had a circle of people, a circle of friends that I could just brush that off. Like, it helped me grow thicker skin. But nowadays, when kids are attacking kids at school, making them feel bad certain ways because of the social media and stuff that they have, they run to social media, start saying things, and they use that as their way to cope versus the interaction with other people. And the reason why I say from my observations that it's not innate anymore is because I don't remember taking classes when I was a kid, and I'm talking like I'm old, but I'm 27. I don't remember taking classes as a kid that was like, oh, so today we're going to learn about what happiness is, or we're going to learn how to share properly with people. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about later on in like elementary, not preschool. But like, I wasn't taught different social emotional regulation type of skills in class. I learned that as I went naturally, either from observing my mom, observing my family and friends, but I was nothing else taught to me. But now, as I've seen a lot, as I've been working in the schools, I've actually done some of those lessons myself, where I would go into the classroom and I'll have these puppets and other things, and I'm working and showing kids on lessons of how to self-regulate when something happens. And it's either like showing them how to do belly breathing, or showing them how to rethink their thoughts when someone makes them mad, learning how to come to an agreement when you want to do something but then the other person doesn't want to do it. It's very interesting to see that development and seeing a lot of the kids when it comes to that not being a natural thing not to say anymore, but very rarely I see it being a natural thing where kids are able to just regulate, be like, all right, I'm good, brush it off. They really feel it, and they come and tell you like, oh, such and such didn't let me go play with the ball. Now I'm sad. I'm gonna go sit over here. I don't know what to do. But the beautiful thing of them doing that is that a lot of them are comfortable coming and speaking with adults who are there to show them the way. So they're reaching out for it. But they just don't know that they already have it in here. And thanks again, like I said, to social media and our attention span, a lot of you are bringing it up. It's very hard for that natural truth to come out. But we got 3 more minutes left. If anybody got one more thing to drop in the comments, let me know before we start wrapping up. I appreciate everyone that's here and has been engaging. Don't be afraid to jump on the screen with me. Sooner or later, I'm going to start just bringing guests, and we'll have conversations back and forth with the guests for today. But once again, I got to pop this up for y'all, because I got to get used to doing this too. But this is the background, and I keep on forgetting to use it. Okay, we got somebody. Got 2 minutes left. Got 2 minutes left. What up, G? Look like you about to get a haircut, my man. How you sitting in that chair? It looks like you about to get a haircut the way you sitting in that chair.
Oh, word. Nah, I'm right here, man. Just posting this shit. How's it going, man? Returning or first time? I can go right in, dog.
I'm just chilling, G.
Yeah, man. So I was here listening to everything you were saying, and what comes to my mind is that everything starts at home, and unfortunately, like we have some people a lot of people that didn't get that knowledge at home, and the schools, the school, it's a system, man, that it's supposed to keep us in place. It's supposed to keep us in line. It's so they show us what they want us to know, how they want us to behave, right? And then you have those kids that are the bad kids that really all they do have is just a bunch of problems, and then they're the ones that go to see the bro. All the time I was in the principal's office, man. I was always right there. You know what I mean? Just always getting busted. They're always telling me shit. I remember for the longest time, I really felt like, man, like I'm one of these kids. Like I'm just a fucking bad kid. I'm a fuck up. You know, then you start hanging out with the wrong crowd even more. You just think that's real. That's your life. You know, thinking about having the street mentality, thinking about, man, fuck, I think I'm gonna have to join the hood. And it's ignorant, bro, but that was something that was in my head at one point in my life. I was like, fuck, I think I might have to join the hood. Like, that's the way, I guess, right? eventually you snap out of it. And honestly, I think thanks to hip hop, thanks to me like getting in the
Yes.
culture and really like understanding that, and then going down that rabbit hole of that revolutionary thought process where you unlearn everything
All
that you
right,
were
bro.
taught to
I'm
believe,
sorry to cut you short,
realizing
bro.
that we've been
We about to
domesticated.
close right now. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
All right, all
And
right.
we out.